Hey everyone, welcome to my channel Vital Technical Talks. If you are preparing for a data engineering interview, being a fresher or an experienced, this question you will be facing in any of the interview. What is the difference between data lake, data warehouse and data lakehouse? Most of the people understand this concept, but while answering they get confused on between these three concepts. Okay, I will be explaining this in a different way, and I have built an interactive architecture diagram where I will be presenting with an animated way of data flowing from end to end. By the end of this video, you will be able to explain any of these concepts on a whiteboard in the interview. So let's go into the video. What is data lake? A centralized storage system that holds large volume of raw data in its native format, like structured, semi-structured, unstructured, until it needed. It is not been processed and stored in the storage system, which is cheapest. Okay, so this is general bookish definition, but in real, how the architecture looks, let's dive into that. Okay, so we know different types of the data being generated in production these days. Okay, let's know those sources. Okay, like we have application logs. These are the log files which application generates, which will be of structured, semi-structured. Okay, which will have the different kinds of keys, everything will be there in the logs. I don't want to go in deeper on this one. Application logs. Okay, just take it. And operational DB. Okay, that is the nothing but a transactional data which stores the user transactions in any application. In simple, if I'll say, that can be a MySQL database, Postgres database, or an Oracle database. Okay, that is a recent database. We can say it as unstructured data. We upload these days. We upload the images, files, everything, right? Those all can be considered as an unstructured data, even if videos also. And we have IoT devices data. Okay, this is user data, then the application logs. Okay, IoT device. So these are set of known data sources which production applications generate. Okay, in a day-to-day basis. Okay, so these source data we need to collect and store it into the destination. So how these data sources, this source of data can be collected? Okay, there are two ways. Okay, one is batch processing and batch ingestion, and second is the streaming ingestion. Okay, so what is this batch ingestion? This batch ingestion and streaming ingestion are the popular ingestion technique which is used in the current any applications. Okay, any production applications which collects the data from the different sources. So what is batch ingestion? Batch ingestion nothing but it's a scheduled job which runs on a specific time or in a day, collects the data from the different sources, take the data as it is and stores into the destination, whatever the destination we give it. And streaming data is reverse of the batch. It doesn't work on a scheduled. It is a streaming, continuously running data. Whenever data is generated on the source, in that second itself it collects the data from the source and posts that into the destination. Okay, so these are the two types of ingestion. Coming to the technology wise, if you want to understand what technologies are being used in the batch and what technologies are used in streaming. In batch, we are having different technologies like Apache Spark, Apache Flink, Apache Airflow, and these support the Apache Spark and Apache Flink. They support both batch and the streaming. Okay, but and Airflow supports the batch processing. But here in these three, right? If you consider which one is better for the batch, means Spark is the better one. Okay, coming to the streaming, we have Apache Kafka. Apache Spark we can use for streaming, Apache Flume also we can use it, and Apache Kafka is only for the streaming. Okay, so in these three, right, if you ask me which one is better, means Kafka is a streaming pipeline which takes a high throughput from any source and posts it into the destination. But any streaming on top of this Kafka will also be used to collect the data also. Okay, so mostly streaming applications use the Kafka, Apache Kafka, to collect the data from the source and post it into the destination. Okay, so Apache Kafka is the better technology in perspective of the streaming. Now these two ingestions, right, post the data to the destination where it posts. Okay, so if you see the design, my architecture design, the animated one, the data is flowing from all the four sources, okay, into two different streamings. Okay, and these all sources, the data which is collected from the ingestions are stored into the one layer called bronze layer. Okay, this is the one layer where the data from the batch and streaming is stored. Okay, this layer we can say it as the raw layer also. Why raw layer? Okay, in general, why raw layer is the data, how it is coming from the source is stored into the bronze layer as it is. Okay, so there is no alteration happens while collecting the data from the source and while storing into the destination. Okay, that should not happen, because we may require this raw data any time of any perspective for any applications also. Okay, so we should not do any tampering on the raw data. So we need to store the raw data in the storage layer as it is. So then this raw data cannot be consumed by any consumer immediately. Some consumers are available who can consume this raw data. I will explain that also. But this raw data is not flexible for everyone. Okay, so we need to make this data in such a way that it should be flexible for everyone. Okay, so how? Now comes the ETL jobs. Okay, so ETL jobs will help us to make this raw data available for all consumers, all type of consumers. Okay, so what is this ETL jobs? These ETL jobs are nothing but extract, transform and load. Okay, we can take an technical examples like Apache Spark, which Apache Flink, where the same batch kind of jobs will run on top of the raw data. We will have a logic too in the coding, in the code, where we take this raw data, pick the messy files, we clean the duplicate records, we remove the broken records, wrong formatted records, null records, we fix the data type issues from this raw data. And once this cleaning data is completed, right, this Apache Flink or Apache Spark batch job will store the clean data into a layer called silver layer. Okay, this layer will have a decent structured data. Okay, and this silver layer can be useful for any of the set of consumers. Again, I will not say that all the consumers, set of consumers. Okay, and this silver layer is a decent layer compared to the raw layer. Okay, now as I said, right, silver layer can be consumed by set of consumers but not all consumers. How can we make this data more flexible to be accessible by all consumers? Okay, so now comes the next structure. Okay, what is it? So using the same Apache Spark or Apache Flink, we can process this data into more consumable for all the consumers. What is that? So from the silver layer, we can collect this data, do the aggregation, do the transformations, and calculate the business logics on top of the silver layer and generate a calculated type of records and store it into the gold layer called golden layer. Okay, so what is this golden layer does? Okay, generally this golden layer is nothing but a table kind of structure we'll have, where the summarization of the specific data will be there, the proper structured format, we will have a structured format on the data, we will have an aggregation on top of the records, we will have the pre-calculated business logics on top of the records, we will have the sales data, orders data, everything we will have in this golden layer. Okay, so when this data is stored in the golden layer, right, this good layer can be accessed by any consumers. Okay, any consumers throughout the board. Okay, from the application business perspective, we can use it for the reportings, we can use anything, we can use it. Okay, this golden layer. So in the diagram you can see the data catalog layer is there. What is this catalog layer? This catalog layer is an label inventory sheet which is kind of metadata. When someone, so let me go to the next step of my consumer layer. So when someone from using a BI tools or a SQL query, he tries to execute, right, instead of hitting that query directly onto the golden layer, scanning all the data, right, this data catalog helps the data to scan to the specific records only using this metadata. Okay, so if he is querying on 24 hours or 2 days of data, right, that specific duration of data can be accessed by giving the metadata information regarding the which section of folders the data is available, and the query will be faster in consuming the data. So data catalog helps us to categorize the data of the metadata as an inventory sheet, we can say it as, where the information of the data is properly mentioned. Okay, so now coming to the consumers. Okay, so if you see the total architecture how it looks, okay, we have three set of consumers, like data science ML model consumers, where they rely on two types of data. As I said earlier, bronze layers can be consumed by a set of consumers. Okay, so here the data science ML models can use the raw data. They take the raw data, they write the logic to process it. Okay, second, this same silver data can also be consumed by the data science and the ML models. BI SQL queries, they rely on the gold layer. Okay, they consume the data using data catalog, they consume the data from the gold layer. And there is a called as data sharing APIs. Okay, this APIs directly use the API called directly to connect to the model gold layer to fetch the data. Okay, this way if you see the total structure of the architecture is available from the source to destination, how a data flows from the source to the ingestion to the storage, using the computing, how the data is processed from the gold, silver, and the from the raw silver and the gold. So one thing I want to say here, highlight here, is the layer which you see in the middle, that is bronze, silver, and gold, is called the data lake storage. Okay, this is the actual storage called as data lake storage. Then this storage will be used by the consumers to process it. So this is the total architecture of the data lake. Hope this is clear.